Segment 2, Gold and Black Live, joined by friend of the show, but just an all-around good dude, Elliot Bloom, director of basketball operations for the Boilermakers men's basketball team. He does just about everything over there. If you need a good consult on what's going to happen in the future of college athletics, this is the guy. I think he's got his crystal ball out. But Elliot, welcome to the show. We always appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate you having me on. I will say that I do miss being in person over there, if for nothing else, for the post-show parties that you guys used to have.
Oh, I know. They were
just
legendary.
Tremendous.
I mean, we'd stay out till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, at least. But no, it's funny. The Zoom has become our friend on this show, and it's a great way to do it because we can get guests from all over the world. And today we chose you, so that's a good,
very flattered.
All right, 102-57 win over Truman State. I always say about this basketball team, or I'm saying about this basketball team, if you enjoy basketball and you enjoy watching teams get built, and there'll be some flaws, I'm sure, and some challenges throughout the course of the year, but this is an interesting basketball team already, and we saw that I think for most of the fans who got the first chance to look at them on Wednesday night against Truman State. Engaged group, but a group with some talent.
Yeah, this is a very low ego group. Very, they've been absolutely great to be around. A lot of hard workers. It's a testament to Coach Painter and the guys he's really targeted in our coaching staff. Guys that love the game, guys that love to be in the gym, that want to work on their game, guys that value team over individual. Not that you always want, some selfishness to a degree.
Yeah.
But how that all fits together, I think this team so far has been really great in those areas, and a lot of new faces on the floor. Let alone the freshmen that came in, guys like Brian Waddell and Trey Kaufman are coming off their redshirt years that now will get to see significant minutes and be able to be out there. A lot of new pieces to fit together for Coach Painter. He's got his work cut out for him. But it's exciting because I think this team, there's a high level of skill, basketball skill, being able to move the ball, being able to see the floor, understand. I think for being such a young group, I mentioned this to Coach the other day, I think we're probably a little bit further ahead offensively than we've been at this point in previous years. And I think I attribute 100% of that to the fact that these guys are very cerebral from a basketball standpoint. They understand the game. They understand where the ball needs to get. They understand if you run a play, why you're running a play, why you're screening a certain way, why the ball moves a certain way. They understand that. And I think that's shown in the first 2 chances we've had to kind of play somebody other than Purdue with Cincinnati in the scrimmage last week. And then the other night against Truman State, I think the passing was on display, and have a high level of assists and a low number of turnovers was really good to see.
I know Matt talked about after the game, you're always trying to get better defensively, and that's going to be a work in progress. Not that this team, it's not an effort issue necessarily, but talk about that and what development needs to happen from your perspective as you look at these guys. And again, you're dealing with so many new players, talented new ones, but guys that need to know how to do it defensively. Yeah,
I think this team, I don't think I'm as panicked about the defensive side as maybe Coach is always panicked about the
defense. I hear you.
So that's been a constant theme over the last 16 years or however long he's been here now. It seems to me that this team, where they lack maybe in some defensive ability, like in terms of talent or athleticism, I think they make up for in again in the basketball intelligence side of things. So it's something that they'll continue to pick up. And we had 2 very contrasting teams that we played the last 2 times. I thought we did some really good things defensively against Cincinnati. Now they didn't run a lot of sets. They didn't run a lot of offense. It was kind of a use your athleticism and size to kind of kill your man. And our guys did, I think, pretty well. Now Truman State has already had a game under their belt against a live audience when they went to Iowa the other night. They run good offense. They move quick. They cut quick. They ran their offense with good pace. And so that was great for us to face that. And so that was the first time we'd played another team that really ran good, quick, crisp offense. And so that was the challenge for our guys that night. And I think that they came out and kind of hit us in the mouth a little bit. And then I think we adjusted pretty well the remainder of the game once we kind of realized what pace they were going to play at. And so you're going to have moments like that throughout the year where we may see an opponent that does something new or different, and there's going to be a little bit of adjustment period. You hope that you adjust in 2-3 minutes instead of 35, 36 minutes. And I think these guys will be quick to learn those kinds of lessons on the fly. And hopefully this will be a group that gets better and better defensively as the year goes on.
Yeah, that's going to be a focal point. It always is. All right. One of the things, your roles among many is, you have as much to do with the environment in Mackey Arena and trying to, and you've built this over the years in your tenure, and there've been obviously you've got marketing staff and promotion staff and others that have a role with it as well. But talk about that. Just we kind of use, maybe because I'm older, we call it the Wrigley Field of college basketball now, because it is now Mackey Arena, and you've been going there for many, many years. But it has continued to evolve to a destination place. Talk about that evolution, and even some little cosmetic things were done this past year that continue to make the environment there really, really special.
Yeah, it's always been one of our goals. Is you can never rest on anything. We've had a lot of consecutive sellouts. I think we were at 41 over the summer. Looks like it will continue for the foreseeable future. That's a big deal. First of all, it's a big deal for a lot of reasons. It's created, as you alluded to, Mackey's become a destination spot and a kind of a must see. And I think our fans, hopefully our fans feel this way, that you feel like you can't miss a game. You may be a season ticket holder that lives in the Chicagoland area, and you really feel like I got to get there. It could be a Wednesday night game against an opponent that maybe we're supposed to beat, but you feel like something may happen that I just got to be in the building for. It's that fear of missing out, and I think we've got that established. And I think that the first thing is it's a testament to the coaching staff and the players, because people want to see them play and they want to see our teams compete, and they hopefully play the right way and play hard and conduct themselves in a way that makes all of our fans and our alumni proud. And we feel really good about where we're at with all of that. But the team here, our marketing guys and our ticketing guys and game management staff, there's a constant need to keep up with the rest of, I guess, entertainment around the country. And there's a constant need to showcase our players and make it fan friendly and do it in a way where we're always changing and evolving. So we're always looking. In fact, we've got some stuff cooking for down the road a little bit where we can enhance the fan experience some more, and hopefully we'll be able to get that done here in the next 18 months or so. But this past year, kind of redoing some of the premium seating, the courtside seating. We heard it from a number of people over the last few years. Those gold seats down there were kind of quote unquote an eyesore to some. Those came out over the summer. We replaced those with some new black seats, and just a real nice, sleek look. We actually added some seats to that area, so kind of cut down some of the dead space that's in that section, and added some more. So that's been great. The court itself, a different finish on the court, different paint job, a little bit of a lighter tone to it. I don't know how much people saw that or recognized that. I'll be anxious to see how it plays out on TV. And really the genesis of that was when the NCAA tournament was here, and we hosted that during the COVID year. The NCAA brought in new floors to all of their sites. So, Assembly Hall and Hinkle Fieldhouse and all those places had a whole new floor come in. And the court they brought in was a lighter wood, was a lighter paint, lighter finish. And it really popped and I wasn't here for that. So I'm repeating what other people have said when they saw that in the building, and they really liked it and really thought that it kind of lightened the place up and kind of made a statement. So we decided when we refinished the floor this year, it's amazing, these guys that do the floors, they just take the paint right up and then put new stuff down, and we put a lighter coat on. So the floor has a much brighter tone to it than it did before. And we had to do some of that anyway. We had to take the old women's 3-point line off. There's just one 3-point line now on. There's not as much staying inside the 3-point arc as there was. So little things year after year that we'll keep tweaking and we'll continue to do. And hopefully we can make it the place that people want to continue to fill up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really evident, I think, the lighter court when the building is empty. At least it was to me. It just really hits you a few times that I'm in there for press conferences, et cetera. But it is a different look. And it's funny because you mentioned I didn't really on Wednesday night, didn't really come back and notice that. But I think you will notice it a lot when these games start to be televised on a more national level. More people are going to get a chance to see that there is a difference. All right. One of your other rules among many is scheduling. You've got some locked in games with the Gavitt games and the Big Ten ACC Challenge. But heading to Portland this year, talk about the genesis of that, but also the Phil Knight opportunity, but also some other ones that you may be looking at down the road, and how that comes about, because the schedule gets more and more locked in. It seems less maneuverability than in the past, but what you can truly create. Yeah,
we're in a little bit of a crossroads right now, scheduling wise. To back up to the Phil Knight event in Portland that we're going to, will be the premier event this year. 16 teams, all Nike schools, 2 from each conference, the major conferences, and kind of the who's who of college basketball. Yeah. So it's great to be among that group. It's great to be in that event. And of course, Purdue's been with Nike since 1980. So we heard that there was a PK 80 a few years ago. This is the PK 85. And when we heard that this was kind of in the works, I reached out right away and said we'd love to be a part of it. So the 2 Big Ten teams will be us and Michigan State. Obviously, they're on the other side of the bracket, but really good teams, really good opponents. And we're basically, this is 22. We have tournaments lined up for 23 and 24. We'll be in Maui in 23, and then an event that probably will be announced here in the fall in 24, and then working ahead on 25, 26 right now. Back in a few years ago, we would try to find a tournament that maybe, if you schedule them so far in advance, you kind of wanted to balance maybe what you thought your team might look like. Well, we're in a day and age now with the transfer portal and things like that it's impossible to be able to tell what your team's going to be like 3 or 4 years out. So, coach being kind of established the way he is, and the program being kind of on the solid footing it is, basically we will try to go get into the best event that we can get. Coach likes to try to play events that we've never been to before, to try to get to different parts of the country that we haven't been to allow some fans that maybe live there to kind of come see us. It's always amazing when we go places for the first time. We will hear from people that live in that part of the country that they're so thankful that we came to their neck of the woods so they could come catch a few games. And then we've got a really loyal group of John Purdue Club people that usually will travel and get to those destinations too. And that's a big deal. People, I don't know if they would instinctively know that, when we call Maui and want to get into that event, a big reason they want to get you there is how many fans you're going to bring, because that's what drives their business. Yeah. And so if we can say, look, we've been there 4 times in the past, and each time we've bought X amount of tickets and we've bought X amount of hotel rooms, we've gotten to a point where our fans travel well enough where it's a no-brainer. If we call, they're interested and people want us. And that's a great position to be in. I said we were at a crossroads because we're at a time where the future of the ACC Big Ten Challenge is up in the air. Right. With the new TV deal obviously taking effect next year, ESPN is no longer part of our kind of traditional carriers. So they were the owners of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. So there's some talk right now of trying to keep that going. That would involve 2 leagues and 2 networks to all play nice in the same sandbox. So I don't know if that'll happen or not. From our standpoint, we would like to see it continue. It kind of, locks in a really good game for you every year. And it's kind of become such a part of college basketball over the last, 15, 20 years, whatever it's been going. We hope that can continue. Now we'll see, time will tell, but we should have an answer on that coming up pretty soon. I think the Gavitt game will probably be phased out here, but again, if the challenge goes away, maybe there's talk of rekindling that. We would like to try to continue to keep a presence in Indianapolis. And I know I hear from some fans sometimes on our Davidson opponent this year. In 30 seconds, I'll explain why it's so hard to get a big name opponent to come to Indy. You're playing in our backyard and we can't return the game.
Yeah.
So for us to be able to get, like, if it's not going to happen to get Arizona down there, because we're not going back to Phoenix to play Arizona. We just don't have that maneuverability right now. There's a few more things we've got kind of in the works, scheduling wise, some really big things that hopefully come to fruition. If those things are cemented, I think that those will be really cool deals that people really get into. But I'm kind of in a holding pattern now, waiting on that challenge to be decided. And then that will be the starting gun to get to work on the rest of it. But there's a big trend right now in exempt events. Most events used to be 3 games, 4 games. Now, ideally, you'd like to find an event with 2 games.
Yeah.
So we play in Maui next year. That's a 3-game event. The PK85 this year up in Portland's a 3-game event. Going forward, we'd like to keep those 2-game events, and that allows you just more flexibility. Allows us to continue to try to get big names to come to Mackey. It allows us to free ourselves up to go play some cool neutral site events as well.
Yeah, it is always a moving target, and you're putting the plates in the air, and then they're taking them away from you as time goes on. That television thing has something to do with a lot of this, doesn't it? So that part of
it does, and I know, some people will voice frustrations at some of the things you deal with television. It might be a late start time, it might be odd scheduling, and the only thing I'll tell you is control what you can control and quit worrying about the stuff you can't, because it's just not worth it. At the end of the day, the resources that they provide, our athletic department and everything else, we're not going back. And at the end of the day, it makes it worth it. So that's just, we've learned around here to just kind of control what you can control and not worry too much about the rest of it. So.
That is great advice to end this segment. I think that is a true thing in just about every facet of life. So, Elliot, hey, thanks so much for your time, and we will look forward. Of course, the Boilermakers open up on Tuesday night. A good way, if you don't want to hear what's going to happen in the election, no matter what side you're on, be at Mackey Arena.
I am looking forward to being out there on the floor and not having to think about any of that
there you go. That's it's a public service. So all right, hey, we'll look forward to talking and watching the Boilermakers 2022-23 edition. Is going to be an interesting year, and we will also be back for segment 3. Brian Newbert and Tom Dienhart will join. We'll try to spread a little wisdom about Purdue, Iowa football, maybe a little basketball talk too with Brian. So and we'll look forward to be back in 2 minutes on Gold and Black Live.